who's joining me, it is Grammy nominee country girl from Kentucky, Ann Wilson.
Hi.
So great to have you.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Okay, so you grew up, first of all, let's actually fast forward to radio. You've been one of the youngest girls on Christian radio, voices, artists on Christian radio. So who has sort of guided you, mentored you through your life? Like not just through the loss, the great loss that your family experienced, but also through music. Because there's got to be people, I'm sure, in your life.
I would say Lauren Daigle for sure. When I was first kind of in like middle school, going into high school, that's when really she was taking off. So I vividly remember her being a really big inspiration. She still is now. She's kind of now become like a mentor to me, which is crazy. Can't believe it. Zach Williams was always like a musical influence. And then Dolly Parton and Johnny Cash were really like the two artists that I grew up on listening to all the time. So,
what about people in your own personal life that maybe held your hand and kind of guided you through some of these?
Yeah, my family for sure. There's a lot of challenges coming into the industry. I was 17 when I signed a record deal, which is amazing, but also so young. And the challenges that come with being a young woman in Christian music or in any genre of music in general. My family just like really helped me get through that time, just like supporting me and kind of having a safe place for me to fall back on. So I'm very grateful for them.
I think that's really important because I think mentorship is becoming more of like a thing for young people to be like aware of and looking for. But if you don't have it within your own family first, I think that's a real disadvantage. It's unfortunate if people don't have that. So that's really a blessing for you. Okay, so you've obviously taken risks to be in your own lane. I mean, right now you are nailing the Christian country on Christian radio lane. How did you get the confidence to just do your own thing? Because you're young and young people don't know who they are at this age of their life, let alone taking the risk and having the confidence. So where did that come from?
It was definitely hard, I will say. It started with My Jesus in 2021 and it was kind of country sounding, but obviously very Christian. And I just had a ton of messages on like social media, people just saying like, hey, we do not listen to Christian music. We're not Christians, but we love your music because it's positive and it's like country sounding. And so it kind of inspired me to go, okay, well, I want to continue to do that, expand on that. So I started writing for my next record after My Jesus album came out. And I just had a moment of realizing that, well, it was kind of multiple things. I had been reading the Bible and I had been reading stories of Jesus and how Jesus would go against the crowd and he would do his own thing and he would go against like the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the religious people were always like criticizing him for all the things he would do. But like his favorite thing was to be hanging out with the least of these and the sinners and the tax collectors and the prostitutes. It was like, that's where he was. And so I just had this message. I felt like the Lord was just telling me to continue to share the gospel, not just with Christian music, but with the world. And for me, that was expanding into country music and kind of like extending my audience and just reaching more people is essentially how I look at it. So there's been hard moments in the midst of it. Sharing Jesus on a stage that nobody normally talks about that is hard. But there's so many blessings like on the other side of it, you know, knowing that I do it for Jesus. So
especially as a worshiper and a worship leader and singer. I mean, that's really kind of how things started for you too. So it's like, it is a shift, but you're bringing courage to the other, I want to say rebels, if I could drop an album name here, to really like, again, artists that want to kind of create their own lane there. So do you have anything you'd want to say to young artists who either want to do country on Christian radio or just want to find and carve their own lane? What would you say to them?
Get ready because it's going to be hard. There's a lot of challenges with it. It's hard to please people and to like do what you need to do and to fit in this lane because sometimes people don't welcome it. And so I would just say, get ready to work really hard, but do your thing because Lainey Wilson told me this, one of my friends in country music, the only thing you can be is authentically who you are and you can't change yourself. So if you feel like it's doing country or pop or whatever with Christian music, then just go for it. And God's going to bless you throughout the whole process.
Yeah, so, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of last conversation I want to have because I know you spent a lot of time on your grandparents' farm. Doing the farm thing. First of all, I live in a dairy farm town now. Just in the last few years, like so much so like the telephone poles are painted with cow print. Like that's like, you know,
that's awesome.
We're not farmers, I never grew up that way. However, we have a lot of listeners who are. And we've been hearing from a lot of listeners who are farmers who are up at like 1 o'clock in the morning harvesting and they're listening to Christian radio and they're listening to you. So how do you want your music to encourage those overnight farmers.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, I love farmers and I love the country life. And so that's really sweet that people are listening to my music like that. I hope it just continues to give them like strength to get through those hard nights working and hope, for what's to come. So
yeah, awesome. Well, My Jesus was the breakout song. Rebel, the new album, is
Yes.
Ann Wilson. Thank you, Ann.
Yep, thank you.